My name is Kasia, and I am the founder of Ikigai-Connections, where I run a job board for Japanese jobs in the US called Nihongo Jobs. And here is my sidekick and partner in crime, Dozo.
Hello, everybody. Again, good to see you again. This is Takeshi Yamagishi. I work for a Japanese recruiting company, but I am very passionate to connect with all of the candidates who is in here in US wants to be connected to Japan related. So I'm very excited to talk today.
All right. And as you know, Shushoku Café, we talk about various job opportunities, specifically focused on the US, but of course, Japan is related to practically every conversation we have. And today we have a special guest to talk to us about the state of Illinois, with the main city of Chicago. For anybody who's seen opportunities in Illinois, but just wasn't sure, do I move? Do I go visit? What is Illinois like? And it's very good for people who are considering relocating or moving to a different location. So let me introduce our wonderful guest, Michael Foster. Onegai shimasu.
Hi, onegai shimasu. Hey, how you doing? For all those who I don't know, hajime mashite, yoroshiku onegai shimasu. And for those who I do know, gomei nasai. I'm so sorry. But I did that joke. I just spoke at the AI seminar that the Japan American Society of Chicago had put on. And I did that joke, and I didn't get the laugh I wanted. And I was wondering, is that because no one heard me, or are people really scared? I have no idea. So on my better days, I am Michael William Foster. I am the CEO and founder of a little side company called Boo Jazz Studios. I've been doing marketing, advertising, creative for about 25 years now. I was working professionally since I was 15. I was doing children's menus for a chain of restaurants in Texas. And I've been just going ever since. Now, in the last, 10 years, I've really focused on Japan business and Japan philosophy and just Japan design. I have a whole stack. You can't see this in the void I'm in right now, but if I turn my computer this way, you'd see the giant stack of Japan design books and Japan philosophy books and everything that's sitting just right here. I work with a lot of Japanese companies in terms of interpreting their brand from the Japanese side of things and to make them more American friendly and vice versa. And that's just it. So if it's, I love Japan and Japanese culture, so just kind of find myself doing a lot of things within the community, and I absolutely love it.
All right. Great. So today we invited Michael-san today is because we wanted to know about the life in Chicago. What is in the Illinois area? May I start asking some question, Michael? Is that okay?
Oh, sure. Go for it. Let's do it.
Well, are you from Illinois, Chicago, or you moved from different places?
Okay, well, I grew up in Mokina, Illinois, which is a far south suburb of Chicago. So I grew up there, and I've lived in Chicago area my whole life. Right now, I'm in the western suburbs. But I did live in Seattle for 5 years from 2007 to 2012. But I've been back here since, for over 13 years. And, I came back here for the work. That was the one thing I learned. When I was in Seattle, it was 2007. And you have to picture me driving in a U-Haul, just buzzing away. Can't wait to start my new career in Seattle as the stock market's collapsing. But I'm not aware of that yet because the .com crash, you've seen The Big Short. It's the summer of 2007 when that's going on. So I'm sitting here stuck with Justin Timberlake's Summer Love just playing over and over again in the radio as the stock market is collapsing. Got there. First year was great because things hadn't gotten bad yet, but by 2008, things were tough. I came back to Chicago because the one thing in Chicago, and especially Chicago area, but Illinois, if you want work, you'll find it. There's definitely, job markets go up and down, but, Chicago is known as a blue collar, hardworking, white collar, whatever. We don't care what color you got on, but if you like to work, you can find work. You should. But then again, too, in this job market, I'm sure it's just like talking about AI or anything else. You ask that same question to 20 different people, you're going to get 20 different answers.
Okay. Yeah. Because that's the one thing I realized. When I heard about the Chicago at the beginning, I saw Chicago is a big city, downtown, south side, I don't know, scared, something like that. But when I visited there, it was when you talk about Chicago area, there's two different areas, especially for Japanese company, for the job market. One is downtown Chicago. But in the suburban area, Arlington Heights or Schaumburg, there's a nice, beautiful, safe area with tons of companies in there. So as you say, if you want to find a job, there's a tons of opportunities in there as well. I'm not sure if it's true or not. I feel you can choose. If you want a city life, you live in the downtown. And if you prefer to have like a little bit countryside life, and you can live in a little bit suburb, but enjoy the city life in the middle. So you can do both, little by little, like balance out how you like it. That's what I feel about Chicago area. But how do you think living in there?
Japanese companies, a lot of them settled out by O'Hare Airport, which is western suburbs. You're looking at Itasca, Arlington Heights, Schaumburg. And so there are Japanese companies that are near O'Hare. It's safe. I mean, I wouldn't be walking around a weird neighborhood at 3 a.m, but I grew up here as a kid. The city is way safer than it was many, many years ago. I mean, it's just, have your wits about you. It's not like walking around Tokyo where you are always safe and cared for everywhere you go for the most part. There is a different litmus test here, but I do think we get bad press. But that being said, getting in and out of the city isn't as treacherous. It's not like New York where there's you try and get in and out of Manhattan, you're surrounded by water, so you only have bridgeways to get in. We're flat. There's a lot of ways in and out. Now, granted, people drive crazy. And, and weather like this, where it's just snowing and it's cold, we have car accidents left and right. So it's not super easy to get into the city, but it's not like a 3-hour tour. Within an hour or so, you can get downtown. And yes, a lot of people live in the burbs because it does give you that, if I want more of a country life and have more relaxed life, I just move away from the city a little bit. But I also want to have access to all the wonderful things the city has to offer. But we also have great suburbs too. Naperville, Evanston, to name a couple. When the Oak Brook's here, even where the Japanese companies are at, Schaumburg, Arlington Heights, each one has its own charm. And the one last thing I'll say is for a city this big, you can find places that are affordable. Like if you're in Seattle right now, rent alone is just going to kill you. New York, LA. For a city our size, rents are definitely going up. Once again, it depends on who you talk to. Rent is rent. It's crazy. But it's not as bad as other cities our size. You can find spaces because our zoning laws are so crazy. So you could be like my parents. They live in technically Naperville. So boom, your taxes are down. And, and then you get a little bit less on the price of the house. But if you're going to buy, the one thing is the taxes will kill you a little bit when it comes to housing and stuff. So it's something to keep in mind.
But that's good information, about housing. When they think about relocating to Illinois, they worry about, is it going to be affordable or not? But, if you compare with the Seattle and there, with your experience, it's going to be way much better than that. And then, you can find the places.
It always depends on where you're coming from. You're coming from Kansas City or a smaller city or like Louisville, it might be like, it's kind of expensive. But if you're coming from any major city, it's like, this isn't too bad. Okay. People come from California. If you're coming from anywhere in California, if you're coming from the West Coast or whatever, or anything West Coast or East Coast, you come here and you're like, this isn't bad.
What about one thing for those candidates who are thinking about come to Chicago for the job? They come for the job as well, but also they want to be connected to Japan as well, something Japan related, not only for that company where they work, but some culture activity or what kind of activity they can feel what connected in that area. Do you have anything any idea some Japanese supermarket or some festival event or any non-profit organization they are organizing in that area?
Well, okay, so that's a big question. So the one thing, I was actually having a lovely conversation with, I can name drop the Consul General of Japan, very, very lovely man. And some of us, we had just done the AI seminar and we're having dinner and we're talking and stuff. And one thing that had come up is that the Chicago area, we find that in a lot of other areas, there's a lot of Japanese, people in that community, but they're spread out. And some of that has to do with, the fallout of World War II and, how a lot of Japanese didn't like to coalesce because, the terrible atrocities that had occurred where people were getting rounded up. Lessons we should keep in mind for today. But, Japanese friends who are in LA or New York, and there's plenty going on, but the communities are a lot more spread out. Now, they are spread out here in Chicago too, but not nearly as much. The communities here the Japanese communities here in Chicago are a lot more interconnected. So right off the bat, if you start plugging and playing into the community, things happen a lot faster. Now, I'm a member of the Japan American Society of Chicago, Japan American Services Committee, the Chicago Osaka Sister Cities Committee. By the way, if you're going to be a member of a Sister Cities Committee, it's a long process. They're going to vet you. So that's something, you don't just pay and play for that. You got to jump into that. And also a little thing here in Arlington Heights called the Chicago Japanese Club. And that's really specifically meant for people who are, just less business oriented and more just community oriented. Let's just all hang out and have coffee once a month, kind of a vibe, right? There's plenty of these communities. Those are the main ones I know. There's also the Japanese Chamber of Commerce in Chicago. and they all kind of work together. So if you're coming into the city and you really, and you're big in, you're Japanese, or you're big into Japanese culture, like right away, like become members of these organizations. They're not that expensive. And you will immediately find yourself just getting thrown into, these because each of them have festivals, they have events, sometimes big, sometimes small, and they're really actively trying to do more. So it's a really wonderful way to get plugged in and get moving. And also too, we have a great, I'm also an artist and a painter on the side, but I'm not doing all this other stuff. So I'm plugged into the arts community too. And there's a lot of neighborhoods who have like Third Fridays or First Fridays, where these are free events where a lot of artists will just open up their galleries, and they'll open up their like, just here, this is a big giant warehouse filled with artists. Just come on down, have a drink. And then I think legally you can't just start pouring alcohol anymore. There was some sort of regulation against that many years ago, but whatever, you can just hang out. It's free, and you can see a bunch of great art and the one thing that's great about Chicago being such a huge city is that there's just so much of that. So it's really just finding it is the key. And whether you go through like meetup.com or you just get to know people, or you go through organizations, whatever, I mean, you'll start plugging and playing pretty quickly. And then of course, each area of Chicago, if you're on the north side, the west side, or the south side, has its own sort of microclimate of different organizations as well.
Well, just maybe one last question as we wrap up this video. I was wondering if you had any like last minute bits of advice, as well as, if you are interested, quickly mention this Osaka movie.
Oh my God, I think go a little longer. We can kick this around for a few more minutes. That's okay. Feel free to ask a couple more questions. We can do an encore.
Any advice to job seekers who may be interested in relocating to Chicago? Just like one last tip for them that they can,
Well, I'm a big fan of LinkedIn. So make sure you have a killer LinkedIn profile right off the bat. And so make sure you have that, or, you're also on Indeed. I find that LinkedIn, you get a lot more traction. And by the way, when I say, there's jobs here, here's the thing. But just like anywhere else right now, I mean, you apply to something, there's 100, 200 people probably also applying for the same job. So although you can find jobs, I mean, don't just send out 3 a day and hope you're going to find something. I mean, you really have to like blast out your email. And also too, don't just feel like I can only do this one thing. So if you're a person who's like, I only do this one thing, well, you might have trouble. Try to expand your skill set a little bit. Don't be afraid. That's how I've stayed in business long enough as I have, because I've always like said, yes, I'll try it and then see if I can figure it out. Usually I do, and so I've accumulated this great skill set. But have that killer resume, apply. Don't, and also too, I know Yamagishi-san, you're with Quick USA, great organization. And there's several other organizations. I won't name them here just because Quick USA, but I've actually worked with a couple of them. Wonderful people. I've worked with them in the past. Wonderful people who just, like they'll find you work. They're not like some of these, like I worked in like creative, like there's creative organizations that are like headhunters, and I've never once in 25 years ever found work from a creative agency, right? Japan agencies are way better. They'll work hard, but just do not hesitate to just apply. Yeah, just be friendly, be personable, talk to people. This is a city of relationships and friendships. So if you're personable, you're a little outgoing, get out of your shell a little bit, know how to do small talk, as Colin Quinn would say, do some good small talk, and you'll meet people, you'll find opportunities much faster.
Oh my goodness, that is fantastic. And we will definitely add the links to Blue Jazz, as well as your LinkedIn profile, because it is very impressive. Maybe your Instagram and any other movie-related links, we'll add that. And also, if I may just put in a little plug for the Ikigai-Connections blog, Michael did write a really impressive summary about Japanese culture in general. Thank you so much. And everybody, see you in the next Shushoku Café video. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
Bye.